A heartbroken girl held her dying puppy, ready to say goodbye forever. As he hugged her one last time, everyone in the room wept. But just as the vet prepared the final injection, he noticed something strange, something that turned despair into hope and changed everything. Before we start, make sure to hit like, share, and subscribe. And really, I'm curious, where are you watching from? Drop your country name in the comments. I love seeing how far our stories travel. The small living room was silent except for the shallow breaths of the German Shepherd puppy lying on a blanket near the fireplace. His once bright eyes, full of mischief and life, now looked dull and heavy with exhaustion. Each rise of his fragile chest seemed like a battle he was slowly losing. Beside him sat Emily, his young owner, her trembling hands gently stroking his fur. She whispered softly, her voice breaking, "It's okay, boy. I'm here." Tears streaked her cheeks as she remembered the playful pup who used to chase butterflies in the yard, who greeted her at the door with boundless joy. Now, that energy was gone, replaced by weakness and silence. The vet had said there was little hope. Tonight, she would take him to the clinic for one final act of mercy. But in these last quiet hours at home, Emily clung to every moment, wishing time would stop. As the puppy nestled against her, he gave a faint sigh, as if sensing her pain, and promising he would hold on just a little longer. The night air was cool as Emily carried the puppy carefully to the car, wrapping him in a soft blanket. His head rested limply against her arm, his eyes barely open. She whispered, "Just a little longer, boy. I'm right here." Her voice cracked, though she tried to stay strong. As the car engine hummed, Emily's father drove in silence, glancing at her through the rearview mirror. The headlights carved a path through the darkness, while the world outside blurred into shadows. Emily held the puppy close, her cheek pressed to his fur, remembering the first day she brought him home, how his paws had stumbled across the grass, how he had tumbled into her lap and licked her face. Now, those memories collided with the painful present. Each bump in the road made her fear he might slip away in her arms. She prayed silently, gripping him tighter. Though the vet had said goodbye was inevitable, Emily refused to let go. Somewhere, deep inside, a fragile spark of hope still flickered. The clinic smelled faintly of antiseptic, its quiet halls heavy with unspoken sorrow. Emily carried the puppy inside, his weight light in her arms, yet unbearable in her heart. The vet, Dr. Collins, greeted them with a gentle nod, his eyes filled with compassion. He knew why they had come. Emily sat in the small examination room, the puppy wrapped in his blanket. She leaned close, tears dripping onto his fur. "I love you, boy," she whispered, her voice shaking. "Thank you for every moment." The puppy stirred weakly, as if gathering the last of his strength. Slowly, he lifted his head, pressed it against her chest, and draped his paw across her arm. The gesture was so faint, yet so full of love, that even the vet paused, blinking back emotion. For one fragile moment, time stood still. The puppy's hug felt like a final goodbye, a silent promise that their bond would never be broken, even in the face of the inevitable. Dr. Collins drew a slow breath as he prepared the syringe, his movements steady but heavy with the weight of the moment. Emily held the puppy close, whispering soft words through her tears. The room was filled with a silence so thick it pressed against their hearts. Just as the vet reached for the puppy's paw, he froze, his brow furrowed, his trained eyes catching something others would have missed. The puppy's chest rose, not evenly, but with a sudden sharp gasp. It wasn't the fading rhythm of a life slipping away, but a struggling effort, almost a fight. "Wait," Dr. Collins murmured, lowering the syringe. Emily looked up, confused. "What's wrong?" she asked, her voice trembling. The vet leaned closer, placing his stethoscope gently against the puppy's side. His face paled, his eyes widening. "This isn't normal," he whispered. His breathing pattern, it's irregular, but not failing. "It's different." Emily clutched the puppy tighter, her heart pounding. "Are you saying he might not be dying?" Dr. Collins didn't answer immediately. His silence spoke louder than words. Something strange was happening. Dr. Collins quickly set the syringe aside and motioned for a nurse. "Get me the scanner," he ordered, his voice low but urgent. Emily's tears paused, replaced by a flicker of hope she hardly dared to believe. The puppy stirred faintly, his paws twitching as though trying to tell them something. The vet ran his hands gently along the pup's frail body, pressing lightly at the abdomen. Suddenly, the puppy whimpered sharply, his body tensing. Dr. Collins's eyes narrowed. That reaction, it's not consistent with organ failure. He leaned closer, then looked at Emily. I think we're dealing with something entirely different. Within minutes, the portable scanner revealed a shadowy obstruction deep inside. The vet's jaw tightened. This isn't a disease, he said firmly. It looks like he's suffering from an internal blockage, something treatable. Emily gasped, clutching the puppy closer. You mean he doesn't have to die? Dr. Collins nodded, determination flashing in his eyes. Not if we act right now. He may still have a chance. The exam room transformed in an instant. What had been a place of sorrow now buzzed with urgency. Nurses moved quickly, preparing instruments as Dr. Collins explained the situation. The blockage is severe, but if we relieve it, he has a real chance. We must work fast. Emily stepped back, her hands shaking, watching as they placed the puppy gently on the table. He whimpered, weak but still clinging to life. She pressed her palms together, whispering a prayer through trembling lips. Every fiber of her being screamed for him to fight. The vet worked steadily, his voice calm but focused. Minutes stretched endlessly as Emily's eyes stayed locked on her puppy's tiny frame. Machines beeped, hands moved, and all she could do was wait. Then, suddenly, the sound she feared most. Silence, a pause so heavy it crushed her chest. But just as quickly, the puppy gasped, his body shuddering as air rushed back into his lungs. Dr. Collins's eyes lit with determination. He's responding, he said firmly. He's not giving up. Hope sparked, fragile but real. The fight for life wasn't over. It had just begun. The clinic room was thick with tension as Dr. Collins and his team worked tirelessly. Emily stood frozen near the corner, her hands clasped so tightly her knuckles turned white. Every beep from the monitor felt like thunder in her chest. Then, slowly, the puppy's breathing began to steady, the shallow gasps giving way to deeper, more rhythmic breaths. Dr. Collins exhaled, relief flickering across his tired face. He's stabilizing, he said softly. Emily covered her mouth, tears streaming freely now. She edged closer to the table, her heart pounding as the puppy's eyes fluttered open. He turned his head weakly toward her, and for the first time in days, there was light in his gaze. With trembling effort, his tiny paw reached forward, pressing against her hand. Emily broke down, sobbing, clutching his paw gently. You're still here, she whispered, her voice breaking with joy. The room, once filled with despair, now glowed with relief. Against all odds, the puppy had survived the night's battle. The miracle everyone thought impossible was unfolding before their eyes. Morning sunlight spilled through the clinic windows, washing the room in gold. Emily sat by the table, her puppy curled against her arm, his breathing steady at last. Exhaustion weighed heavy on her, but relief filled every corner of her heart. She brushed her fingers gently through his fur, whispering, "You're my miracle." Dr. Collins approached, his smile tired but genuine. He's not out of the woods yet, but he's a fighter. With care, he'll live a full life. Emily's parents, standing nearby, nodded with watery eyes. They had prepared themselves for goodbye, but now they were witnessing a second chance. Emily kissed the puppy's head, her tears falling softly onto his fur. The hug she thought had been their final farewell had instead become the moment that saved his life. In that instant, she understood love wasn't just comfort. Sometimes, it was the very thing that gave someone the strength to hold on. Some stories don't end with goodbye. Some begin again with hope.